Today's book, Bailout Nation: How Greed and Easy Money Corrupted Wall Street and Shook the World Economy, by Barry Ritholtz, Bill Fleckenstein, and Aaron Task, takes readers on a journey through the fascinating, infuriating, and utterly captivating tale of how the United States transformed from a nation of rugged individualists into the titular Bailout Nation. We're talking about the era when big corporations and financial giants started expecting the government to rescue them from their own mistakes. Our story begins with a quote from the legendary oil tycoon J.P. Getty. "Owe the bank $100. That's your problem. Owe the bank $100 million. That's the bank's problem." This simple statement captures the essence of our topic today. When the debts get big enough, they become everyone's problem. And nowhere is this more evident than in the world of finance and big business. Picture the classic American cowboy, riding the range, relying on his wits and his trusty Winchester. This image of self-reliance and independence has long been a symbol of the American spirit. But in the world of modern finance, the cowboys have been replaced by a new breed, the banker rustlers. These modern-day cowpokes don't herd cattle. They wrangle derivatives, financial instruments, and paper wealth. And unlike their predecessors, they're not exactly riding solo. The shift from self-reliance to reliance on Uncle Sam is at the heart of our story. How did we get here? Well, it didn't happen overnight. It was a gradual process, fueled by a series of decisions, policies, and yes, bailouts. The term bailout has become a dirty word in American financial vernacular, and for good reason. Let's break down why. First, there's the issue of fairness. When some people get a free ride while others have to pay their own way, it rubs us the wrong way. Americans are generally willing to lend a hand to those in need, but the current crop of bailouts isn't about helping the downtrodden. It's about rescuing the reckless and incompetent, often at the expense of the average taxpayer. Second, the process of these bailouts is often shrouded in secrecy and lacks transparency. Decisions are made quickly, with little debate, and the political mechanisms involved are questionable, to put it mildly. Many observers are not only philosophically opposed to bailouts, but are also offended by the ham-fisted way they are imposed on the public. Finally, there are the costs. Each bailout attempt seems to be more expensive than the last, with long-term damage to the financial system. The government's largesse encourages reckless speculation and distorts the normal incentives of capitalism. When a sector expects to be rescued, it loses the fear of failure, leading to excessive risk-taking, a condition known as moral hazard. Historically, excessive greed and foolish speculation were punished by the market. But in recent decades, we've seen a shift. The government has increasingly intervened in the financial affairs of companies, from the savings and loan crisis of the early 90s to the bailouts of the 2008 financial crisis. Each bailout has set a precedent, making future interventions more likely. Let's take a step back and look at the history of bailouts in the United States. In the early 20th century, the Federal Reserve System was created, initially with modest powers. But over time, these powers expanded dramatically. The Fed's role evolved from a lender of last resort to a guarantor of asset prices, a shift that would have profound implications. The 1971 bailout of Lockheed Aircraft Corporation was a pivotal moment. It was the first time the U.S. government bailed out a single corporation. This set the stage for future bailouts, including the rescue of Penn Central Railroad, Chrysler, and Continental Illinois Bank. Each bailout had its own rationale, but they all shared a common theme: the government stepping in to save the day. The 1980s saw the rise of the too-big-to-fail doctrine, where the failure of a large financial institution was deemed too catastrophic to be allowed. This mindset was solidified during the 2008 financial crisis, when the government intervened on an unprecedented scale. The Troubled Assets Relief Program, TARP, and the bailout of AIG were just the tip of the iceberg. But why did these bailouts happen? One reason is the interconnectedness of the financial system. When Lehman Brothers collapsed, it triggered a cascade of events that threatened to bring down the entire global financial system. The fear of a complete meltdown forced the government to act. Another factor is the influence of powerful lobbying groups and the revolving door between Wall Street and Washington. The Commodity Futures Modernization Act of 2000, which deregulated derivatives, is a prime example. It was pushed through with little debate, thanks in part to the efforts of lobbyists and lawmakers with close ties to the financial industry. The consequences of these bailouts are still being felt today. The moral hazard they create encourages more reckless behavior, as those who take risks know they won't bear the full brunt of their actions. This cycle of bailouts and risk-taking has led to a distorted version of capitalism, where profits are privatized and losses are socialized. So where do we go from here? Some argue for more regulation and oversight, while others call for a return to a more laissez-faire approach. But one thing is clear: the current system is unsustainable. The government can't continue to bail out failing companies without addressing the underlying issues. In the end, the story of Bailout Nation is a cautionary tale about the dangers of unchecked power and the importance of accountability. As we move forward, we must find a way to balance the need for stability with the principles of fairness and responsibility. Otherwise, we risk repeating the mistakes of the past and perpetuating a system that benefits the few at the expense of the many. This has been a BrightLearn video from BrightLearn.ai on the book Bailout Nation: How Greed and Easy Money Corrupted Wall Street and Shook the World Economy by Barry Ritholtz, Bill Fleckenstein, and Aaron Task. Visit BrightLearn.ai for more fascinating videos like this one, and visit naturalnews.com for full editorial coverage and breaking news on critical stories that keep you informed and aware of what's really going on.